Thanks for tuning in to another show in the Next Reel family of film podcasts.
Want to skip those ads and get early access?
Become a member at truestory.fm/join and discover all the other great perks that come with it.
Welcome to the Film Board. I'm Pete Wright. Each month we take one new release and put it on the table to figure out what it's doing, what it's responding to, whether it earns a place in a larger conversation about movies. This is a spoiler-filled discussion. It is opinionated, I hope, sometimes argumentative, maybe, but it is grounded in the idea that movies don't exist in isolation. They are part of a long, ongoing dialogue. If you're here because this film got under your skin, you're in the right place.
Hello, Film Board. Do you like scary movies? I do. Actually, I like them quite a lot. I like the part where someone runs upstairs instead of out the front door. I like the part where the killer is definitely dead and then very much isn't. And I really like the part where someone in a mask stands in the dark outside a window while the target inside just doesn't look up. What I like most, though, sitting down with Tommy Metz III, Steve Sarmento, and Mandy Kaplan to talk about all of it in uncomfortable detail. This is the Film Board. New theatrical releases, full spoilers.
Oh, hi, team. I'm so glad you're here to talk about this movie. I would very much like to start with a little bit of franchise footing before we start with the whole thing, because long-running franchise, Scream 7, and there are some familiar faces in this movie. I know that we have talked about Scream on this show. We have not talked about all the Scream movies, only 5 and 6. And 5 was Tom and Ocean, and 6 was I think was the rest of us, Tommy, Steve, me, maybe someone else.
6 was New York.
So
right?
much like Sidney Prescott, I abstained from 5 and 6.
Right.
Yeah.
And with that, Mandy, why don't you go first? What is your experience with the Scream franchise?
Well, I didn't realize there were any movies before this one because they didn't refer to any of them in the film. So I thought this was a brand new entity.
Yes.
I love Scream. I have seen the first couple many times. And then I did see 5 when it came out in the theaters. So I didn't see 6. I don't know why. I just didn't see it. But I love Scream. I'm a big fan of the self-referential, almost funny, quippy, obvious, fun stuff.
Good. Okay. Franchise. Now, I know between Tom and Steve is the franchise antagonist, and Tom is constantly raising money for the next movie. He's the franchise booster. Steve, is that fair?
Well, we'll see where we go with this one. I'm kind of curious because this is, 5 and 6 were going in a different direction, and this one is something else. So I think I may be in a different position than several of you.
From
what I'm hearing from Tommy, I don't know.
All right. Tom, are you still a booster for the franchise?
I've always been a fan, and my fandom has grown weaker and weaker, like a candle slowly burning down as it forgot to be funny and self-referential and instead became more and more self-serious and so obsessed with its own lore and this movie is definitely no difference. That it kind of, at risk of being crude, like it just gets up its own ass when it started as a movie which is making fun. I know, I did it. Which is making fun of movies that take themselves too seriously and yet make mistakes. So I was really hoping for something different with Kevin Williamson. I know he's not a big director, but he's the one that started the entire scenario, the entire franchise. So I was really excited to see what he would bring. And with Neve Campbell coming back, I was excited.
All right. All right. Well, I feel like you've transitioned us from franchise footing into Tommy's opening thoughts segment.
I didn't want to call him out, but that is exactly what happened.
It's exactly what happened.
Is there a demerit system?
There is a demerit system. We actually take any stars that he gives on Letterboxd, we take one away. So his reputation.
No, but it should be against Tommy, not against the film.
Oh, right. I'm sorry. It's the Letterboxd review of Tom. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
He loses half a star.
This is already getting very meta just for the film. Yeah.
All right. So given all of that and Tom's position already having kicked off our opening thoughts, there is a weird.
Well, what is your situation, Pete? Did you give your
Tom? Thank you for turning the tables on me. I really appreciate that.
It was a real twist.
It was a huge twist. Then I will start doing both. I think I'm a Scream booster with the exception of Scream 3. I think generally I have a lot of fun with these movies. I feel like I have been able over the generations of Scream movies to separate my experience with the film from the quality of the film. And that tension is at the heart of my experience with Scream 7. I'm sort of with you, Tom. My appetite for Scream nostalgia was already sated years ago, and I was excited about what they were doing with Scream 5 and 6. I loved the repositioning of the franchise, and to just send us right back to the origin story of the franchise is exhausting. I was just and so I had trouble with that, even though, and this is where we're allowed to keep hard feelings in our head at the same time, even though Neve Campbell I think was the best thing in this movie. So with that, I cede opening thoughts about the movie, Mandy.
I love the way you phrased it, that you don't have to actually like the movie to have a fun experience watching the movie. And that's where I am. I really did have fun, even though it's a very weak script. And I'm realizing some of the faults are just how forced those speeches are about, like, this is how it works in horror movies, which was so much fun 30 years ago. When it was Jamie Kennedy, right? That was like fun. And this is now you have some woman who wants to be a newscaster, but she's an expert on the horror movie. It feels forced, but I had fun. There were some fun cameos, some fun moments. I'm a huge fan of Joel McHale. That was fun. So I ended up having a good time.
Wonderful.
I don't go to the movies all that much anymore, so
This is it.
Yeah, it was good.
All right, Steve-O.
So with a franchise like this, there's always like that pressure from the fan base. And then there's backlash. And when you sort of reboot the franchise as they did with Scream 5, and it seems to be going on one path, and then with Scream 7, it seems like they sort of revert back a little bit, backtrack off of that. We're not in New York. We don't have any of those characters we get back with Sidney Prescott. And so I know there's all kinds of conversations about all of that, but I'm going to take this movie for what it is. And I really enjoyed this because I can relate so much to it. I think a good horror movie has something to say. And this is really about Sidney Prescott and the horror of being unable to protect her daughter from the dangers of the world. And it's really about that. Yeah, there's all the Scream dressing on it, but it really, at its heart, is that trauma of parents of, I've got a 17-year-old daughter. When I was 17, I felt competent to handle these things on my own and be a strong woman. But now, as a parent, I don't want my kid having to go through those same things. So I am going to armor up and do everything I can to protect my kid from the things that made me the person that I am and that internal struggle. And to me, that was a fascinating story of that mother-daughter dynamic within the setting of the Scream universe or whatever, because it is so ridiculous of you've got to shoot him in the head and just, there's always more than one, there's always two, or are there more than two? All of that, which was fun, and I had a great time with that, but I really enjoyed that core story of Sidney and her mom, and to me that's what made this really enjoyable and worth seeing. to me, it's like a standalone. Sure, if you have the first one and then jump to 7, I think you're fine, except for some references to the other ones. But really, it's this great arc of a mom and where she is in her life now, and I found that really enjoyable.
It's Sydney Evans now.
Oh, sorry, yes, Sydney Evans.
It is a really interesting comment, Steve, that to look at this as an arc that jumps from Scream 1 to Scream 7. I honestly think had I watched Scream 1 immediately before this movie, I might have had an even better experience with it. The challenge is it fits like the expectation is that it were to fit tidily in the radio silence era of Scream 5 and 6, where we were doing something appreciably different. We just, we have to at least acknowledge the giant Barrera Ortega shaped hole in this movie. The reason the movie exists as it is because Melissa Barrera was fired over her social media posts. And there is a pro-Palestine boycott of this movie because the movie ended up the way it is because she was fired over her comments on social media. And then Jenna Ortega left in solidarity with Barrera.
Mm-hmm.
It's been a long time now since 2023. And I do regret a little bit on her behalf that the movie took this turn, because this is not the story that the third in this little mini trilogy, the Sam and I don't remember, the Tara, the Sam and Tara storyline deserved. And Mandy's point in the beginning was really great, that this movie completely erases that history, even as we have two characters who were in those movies of the kids. Like they're not just junior reporters, they were part of the last two stories. At least one of them was part of the last two. Was Mason Gooding in both of them?
I think
don't
so.
recall. Yeah. So and they were reintroduced as like new characters here, and I feel like that does such a disservice to collective fan memory of the story that they were giving us, that it is it's super annoying. I don't know that we necessarily need to perseverate on that. I just want to make sure it's out. At least we have read the news.
Yes.
And we know we now have that checked. All right.
Correct. And then the studio was left holding the bag, and they realized we need to finally pony up what they refused to do before, which was pay Neve Campbell what she was due.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it's a business, and in an ideal world, this isn't the movie they would have created, but you have to work with what you've got. And so I'm going to judge this based on the merits of this is what they put forward as their best effort, I'm assuming, on this. So I'm going to judge it based on that. And would I have loved to seen the Sam and Tara characters? Sure. Will we ever get to see that? Likely not. But I can't hold that against this film, because this is a different story to be judged on its own. And so I'm going to look at it that way.
There is one thing I can hold against this film, and it's this film. The problem is Scream lives and dies by its set pieces, and whether either it's an exciting or interesting or creepy atmosphere, or it's a really interestingly gory kill. And I thought this movie had neither, almost across the board.
I disagree.
The board. Not interestingly gory. I mean, just stabos.
No, the hanging and swinging, the Tinkerbell kill was fun.
She gets eviscerated, her guts all over the floor.
And they were dangling, and she kept swinging with her little character
Mandy,
shoes.
For Tom, that wasn't enough disembowelment.
I understand.
There is a line, and it did not cross the disembowel satisfaction line.
We've already had people hanging and being killed while being tied to stagecraft. That was how Jerry O'Connell died. So we've already seen this move happen, and unfortunately, the entire cold open was spoiled in the trailer. I know some people don't watch trailers. I do, and you saw that entire kill happen. So I already knew that was going to happen. It looked extremely flat. We are still very much in the world of Netflix lighting, so I thought it looked like a TV movie. We are in a situation where, I thought this was the most deflating reveal of who the killers were in the franchise history. It's just these two randos And one of them is so obviously the killer for so long because in the opening 10 minutes of the movie, she gives this absurd exposition dump in a coffee shop and then kind of disappears for a while. What else is she going to do? Oh, no. There was one, the bar killing when he turns into a beer spout. That was
the most absurd and thrilling. Like it was the gap between there's no way this could like happen and oh my God, how satisfying is it that his mouth is a fountain? I that's where it was.
I feel like
me.
Williamson thought like he didn't see The Strangers, the original The Strangers movie, so he thought just having someone appear, from the darkness and then disappear is new and novel. He did it 3 different times. It's just we've seen it. That's been bitten off too many times. There just wasn't enough going on in this movie. And then to fill it up with 45 minutes of 2 people sitting at a table across from each other, explaining exactly what's happening and why this is important and talking about trauma, I think the movie forgot what it's for.
Well, and I also, to your point about how we knew who the killer was, it's also, and I say this every time, I apologize, but it's casting. And this is what Anna Camp does all the time now. And if you're going to bring Ethan Embry to play a weird orderly, well, we know he's the killer. Now, Timothy Simons was the fake out, right? He was the creepy director of the school play, and he was supposed to plant suspicion. But we knew it wasn't going to be any of the kids. I always joke. It's like Anna Camp walks up and goes, "Hey, Sidney." And I'm like, "Oh, killer." it's Anna Camp.
It's the Glenn Close Knives Out rule.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
It's too big of an actress for too small of a role.
Yes.
Yep.
Well, and she's so good at it. I'm sorry. I just love Anna Camp when she just goes nuts. I love her.
She's good. I mean, this was. I'll call out Steve's prior position only because it works in his favor here. In Scream 6, you actually called the franchise killer motivation the Achilles heel of the franchise, and boy, I think the Jessica comparison to the last movie is right on. It is the Achilles heel of this movie. It is as weak as it gets.
Oh yeah.
Someone read a book and then was like, I'm going to sort of do what you do about a character that the one thing that I was expecting was that Anna Camp's ex-husband was someone that we knew.
Right. Yeah.
That's what they were lining us up for. And so for it to just have been a stranger the whole time to talk about this off-camera kill of someone that we don't know, because then that if it was someone that was involved with the Sidney Prescott mom debacle, all of that stuff, then that would give her reason to want to kill her son or be okay with the killing of her son, all of that stuff. But instead, it was just a bunch of off-camera nonsense. I didn't get it.
Sometimes I have to kind of take myself outside of it and think, is this clever, like on paper? Right? Is it scripted in a way that I could make sense of actually writing it? And the challenge is I don't think I can. I just don't think I can. What Jessica's story is the housemaid, right? Like that's a different movie franchise. And they just drug her in here, and we just don't have enough. And for a movie that is so deeply rooted in nostalgia, both nostalgia of the era by casting people like Ethan Embry, and nostalgia in character by giving us the entire AI banana pants story, that is a real tragedy, because the only thing that would have been more fun with dealing with all the actual film nostalgia is trying to suss out who amongst the nostalgia plants is the one. But instead they gave us a rando, making it the obvious sore thumb in the entire stinking movie. Like if I don't know. I feel for you if you didn't figure it out the moment Anna Camp entered the frame.
But you mentioned some of those, the AI fake outs. Now, I have not seen 6, and I enjoyed that walk down memory lane. When Scott Foley popped up, I was like, oh, that's right. The one that was like a Hollywood thing. And it was fun that Laurie Metcalf got her shot. That's fun. I know it. Oh God, Tommy's just so angry at this movie and at the world and at me for liking it. But those things made it fun to me.
Tom, can you feel your pulse in your face right now?
I like the idea of those, but they were so lazily done. They were so green screen done. They didn't even bother to dress up the green screen during the credits. When you saw when you saw everyone come back and wave when their name was like this, they were just standing in front of green screens. It's so lazy. Everyone just got called in for one, and then Matthew Lillard constantly going, and that's what I'm going to do with a knife. Because that's how you turn off phones. Nobody does
that.
First, he
He's
does that
always
over and
pushing
over again.
way too far away from the camera. God.
It's just so lazy. I couldn't stay. Because see, Mandy, the reason that makes me mad is I wanted to like it.
Mm-hmm.
But it was so thrown together, and everyone obviously had an afternoon, not including Makeup Magoo, that I have trouble. I can just see through it. It's just nostalgia for nostalgia's sake, unfortunately. I did want to see that. And to your credit, I really liked Joel McHale in this movie. I'm glad he didn't turn out to be the killer, and I liked him. I thought he was very convincing as a cop and a father action star. I thought he was really cool. I liked him.
I sat next to him at a wedding. He was so wonderful.
Oh,
Wow.
Was it yours?
Many years ago. No, I wish. Yeah. But I just I find him so watchable and likable in his character as a jerk that just, he's always a jerk, and he just wasn't in this. So,
Yeah, I guess I'm glad he's not the murderer. But from a story perspective, I think it would have been dope to have her have married a dark fan and have him play the ultimate long con. Yeah, I know we have like an 18-year-old child. I've been waiting to kill you all this time.
Right. Well, the premise would have been now she's the age.
Yeah.
Because they mentioned that, right?
Good.
She's
See,
17.
Mandy, it writes itself, doesn't it? Well done. Yeah. Can I just ask about the AI thing? I mean, we're in the era of AI, and as a movie that makes meta commentary on the filmmaking process and on culture, how well did just the AI angle work for you guys?
I'm just going to dump all over this movie. I personally hate it because when you can have deep fakes like that in a movie, nothing means anything. You can just make the world out of nothing. And still, they did an egregious thing where the boyfriend practicing the AI wouldn't just go, test, test, test. He'd say, I'm going to kill you, my girlfriend. Why would he do that as the test footage? He would just go, test, test, look at me. I'm Matthew Lillard.
Here's a puppy. Yeah, right. He's up, man.
You could say anything. You would say, hey, this is my face test, not call your girlfriend the B word. Just to be like the world's weirdest red herring. Yeah.
I think my challenge with the AI thing is that if you're going to make a movie right now and you're going to include an element of AI, you better damn well have a commentary about it. And this movie has no commentary about it. Right.
You don't think that people can use it to cause harm and stalk and instill fear in people and commit crimes? I mean,
I just think that is like the absolute base argument that every movie makes. It really, I mean, it is like the least original position the movie could take. It is the least original position the movie could take. And I think there's a lot there's a lot that can be said about using this technology in here. And I think the challenge is it just felt like we have to have AI in the movie because AI is a buzzword. It was like this was the effectively keyword plot stuffing for the movie. We better have an AI angle so it shows up in reviews and people search for it. That's what it felt like to me.
Alexa, come up with a counter argument for what Pete just said.
Well, because Mandy, I would have liked it if I understood more the point of why do they use Matthew Lillard's character. If they were trying to like really make her think she was going crazy, then that
Alexa,
would,
stop.
Oh, no.
I didn't know there was one in this room.
Oh no, they're everywhere.
Sorry.
Matthew Lillard shows up behind you.
Yeah.
Right.
If they were trying to like say you've lost your sanity and really terrorize her like that would be exciting. Instead, it just felt like stunt casting. So if you wanted to use AI as like a let's scare Jessica to death kind of a gaslighting thing, great.
Yes.
But there was no reason for them to do it, especially because they didn't have any connection to Matthew Lillard or come through the window.
And it actually, worked against them, because didn't it lead them to the Fallbrook Institute, where then they, like, if they were thinking Stu Macher was alive, it
right.
led them to find the killers.
Yeah.
Who always seem to want to be caught. They always want that big speech at the end, and
They need
to
the
make
speech.
their manifesto heard. But
I just want to bring up Courtney Cox.
oh
And
yeah,
I want to
Yeah.
say it because, and I'm saying it like this because I feel
Yeah.
bad about my own
I
position.
know.
oh.
I know.
Jiminy Christmas, guys. Why is she in this movie?
And I thought you were talking about
She's
the
having
plastic
trouble
surgery.
emoting.
Oh, no, I don't. She's had trouble
I would
emoting for a long time.
Yeah, she was doing that during the Friends reunion too.
Yes.
Mhm.
And
yeah.
the veneers now,
Yeah.
she got veneers, so she can't close her mouth, and you can't, her speech is impeded by everything. It's upsetting.
Yeah.
It's
a
you know what?
shame.
You guys need to have that moment. That's not at all what I was thinking.
Oh,
I was
okay,
just
sorry.
looking at Courtney Cox as plot fodder. She was legit
yes.
killed in the last movie.
Oh wait,
Oh,
I'm
she
getting a
was?
text from Pete. Hey
Oh.
Tom, bring up the plastic surgery. I'm too afraid to. do it." Okay, go ahead.
I love that you looked down at your phone to sell the bit.
I
Yeah.
really did
He's
work.
got to turn it
Really-
off now.
Really good. No, you're right. It is challenging to it's challenging because of her. But it's Courtney Cox in a Scream movie, and that just feels like, you know, I can see how it feels when you're going down on a nostalgia road trip for this movie. She sort of has to be represented. But if anyone deserved to be an AI deepfake, it was probably Courtney Cox from a plot perspective. We grieved as fans over her killing, right? Am I crazy?
I don't remember. I thought that they all kind of ended up living. I don't remember.
I remember David Arquette died in 5, but I
Yes,
don't
that's
remember.
the
Yeah,
only
but
big
no,
death
there's
I
a
feel to be that.
huge fight at the end, there's a huge fight in that apartment, and she just gets brutal. I mean, they have a massive fight, and she holds her own until the very end, and I think he stabs her, and we
Oh.
got to grieve over that. I am completely crazy about this, but
I really want to rewrite it. If you need Courtney Cox for box office draw, I get that. But Sidney could scroll back on her phone and find video messages from Gail that she never saw, or, you know, like just something where Gail is encouraging her to fight and stay strong. And that could have been a moving tribute to Courtney Cox rather
Like an
than
angel on a shoulder thing, more than just sort of showing up incredibly conveniently with a van and then disappearing during the entire climax.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
I wonder how many, I'd have to rewatch the movies. I wonder how many of the 7 movies she's shown up in a van in the exact same choreography. I think the blocking is the same in almost
run
every
over
movie.
someone.
Yeah.
Yeah, that
okay.
was that was the only implausible part of this movie.
You're right. I take it back. That was it. And nobody cared at all for like 2 straight minutes. They're like, now let's go unmask him, which leads me into my next segment, which I would like I'm going to dare you all to tell me what does work in the movie. And I'll start with this. They actually unmask a guy when he's dead. And I don't know if that has happened. I don't have the list. I haven't been keeping score, but I found it satisfying when they said, okay, let's go unmask him. And they turned over and the body was still there. Because I don't know if you notice, every other time they think they kill somebody, the body is gone when they turn their heads for 3 seconds.
That's why you shoot him in the face.
Always shoot him in the face. Head. Face is particularly Tarantino, Mandy.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah. Because they end up doing... Okay. Anyway, what works in this movie?
Steve.
Yeah, I already told you what I think works in this movie. I enjoyed, again, looking at Tatum and her friends and all of that, as that issue of growing up and striving for that independence and having overprotective mom and all this trauma that mom has dealt with that she doesn't want to have her daughter deal with, but is visiting trauma on her by the merit of trying to protect her from everything. And it's created barriers. To me, that is the story that really works. There are so many other things that fail, but I'm not a horror movie person. And I will always look at things of like, you're going to turn away for 3 seconds and he disappears. But that's always been the case.
Of
And it's
course.
ridiculous and it's not realistic. And I suspend my disbelief on so many of those things. But yeah, there are things that don't work. But I thought that dynamic of just like Tatum shows up in mom's leather jacket and like just there's a moment there. And for me, those were the moments that really work. That family drama, the sneaking out with friends of like, I need to be my own person. I need to get out, wait for mom. I thought that was fine. I mean, they're, her friends themselves, they're just 2D, placeholders of, oh, it's the quirky, weird neighbor kid, it's the quiet one. It's all of that. So there was not a whole lot to hang on to there. I didn't care when any of them got killed. I was like, I'm not invested because they're not people, they're placeholders, they're red herrings. But I thought the Sidney-Tatum thing worked, even the conversation at the end, which is interesting because Tatum's the character that, never gets mentioned after the first one. And then her ashes are there in Scream 5. But really she's the character that, as Sidney's describing her, as like her closest friend and this strong person. I'm like, it's been a long time since I've seen Scream. I don't know that Tatum was set up as that character, but to me, it works. It's honoring that deceased friend.
That was Rose McGowan, right?
Rose McGowan, who died in the garage door. But for me, that's what I really enjoyed about this movie. As the story played out, I thought this is what I will latch onto, and I'm enjoying this part because everything else is just Scream shenanigans, and which is fine. That's the way I approach all of them. And if I'm disappointed in one of the Scream movies, it's because the other thing that it has to say is not there. And if we hadn't had that mom-daughter piece, if they had figured out a way to tackle AI, that could have been interesting in and of itself too, if it was really a commentary on AI. But again, it was just slapped on. So to me, that's what worked. I enjoyed the kills. Tommy, I thought, yes, we've seen a kill in the theater before, but I thought, yeah, this was something a little bit different. And I enjoyed the tension of the sort of the pit and the pendulum reverse of she's swinging back and forth and the knife is stationary. And then the reveal that there's the 3 at the end. So we've got one, we know there's always more than, there's always 2. And then we think, okay, this is the second one. No, then there's 2 of them at the end. It's 3. I thought that was something that I, hadn't seen coming. Was it well crafted and the reasoning why? No, but it was something that was different and fresh for me in the idea of the sort of the video surveillance of Sidney being remote and communicating to Tatum, and just how scary that is. I can see that. I cannot be there. To me, were the terrifying moments. And those worked. Like, okay, he's right there, through the wall, all that, and guiding her through that. That sequence worked for me well.
Well, I think the mother-daughter thing worked for me on a fun tension building level. I'm not sure I got as invested as you, Steve, but watching when Sidney's like, follow me, and Tatum is like, what is this place? And she doesn't even know they have a panic room.
Oh, yeah.
And that Sidney has outfitted the house for just this occasion. Thank God. I thought that was fun. Watching them walk behind the wall and the killer is trying to stab them. That was all fun. And having it be a mother-daughter was a bit different than 2 blonde girls at a summer camp. So I enjoyed that. And the end, having Sidney try to help her, from a remote place. That worked for me. A mom and a daughter conquering evil together.
I agree. I think that panic room sequence I really liked, and my only concern
That's
was
not how panic rooms are supposed to work. You're supposed to stay in the room.
Yes.
Right. That was, I mean, you're going there. Did anybody see a back door open to the panic room?
I don't remember.
Yes.
There was a solid back door.
It looked like a little sort of hamper kind of a thing.
Yeah.
Oh, thank goodness. Okay, that removes a big criticism that I had of this, because I thought they just opened and closed the back door and it was just, now we're in the
we're in the wall?
crawl
Yeah.
space. Yeah, we're in the wall.
No.
Because it just felt like that's probably easy to circumvent and get into the panic room. Okay, so I was okay with that. Tom?
If we're bringing up things that we're not sure if we saw or heard correctly, when at the end of the movie, when Gail, Courtney Cox shows up again at the end, or maybe it's earlier. I mean, no, it's after she runs him over. I don't remember, but she says, "You're to Sidney, you're bleeding," and Neve Campbell says, "Your point."
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
But she says it like your point. So the line reading is, you're bleeding, your point. That's not how that line goes. It's
a
your bleeding.
question.
Your point?
Your point?
It has to
Yeah.
be your
Oh.
point. Like, what
Right.
what else is new? I'm
Point.
Sidney Prescott, but
Right.
instead it was you're
Right.
bleeding, your point. There were a couple lines in this movie when I was like, is anyone watching the monitor? like there's just really weird ways of delivering lines where it's unclear, like something was fixed or remixed in post wrong or something like that. I don't know. I just want to make sure that I heard that right, because that no one would ever deliver that line that way. You're bleeding.
Which is interesting, because this was not a I think that is actually a case in point, that this was not one of those incredibly horrific ADR parades. Like this movie did not have any of those violations, but that example says maybe they should have. Maybe they
Right.
should have
It's like,
ADR'd that a little
just
bit.
do a last looks.
Yeah.
Something that I did enjoy about the movie, one sequence, although I think it really robs Ghostface power to just like walk down Main Street, a well lit up Main Street. One thing that Kevin Williamson back in the day, even with I Know What You Did Last Summer, he was always fascinated by the idea of help being right there.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah.
you just can't. And some of the Scream set pieces, one of my favorite ones is when Dewey, they're in the soundproof booth in the college.
Oh, it's
and
one of the
Ghostface
greats.
is behind Dewey, and what's her name is like, Dewey, screaming like this, and but she can't hear him. So, and then in I Know What You Did Last Summer, there's always the parade is half a block away. It's so much. Seeing her, I wish he would have stayed on it longer to really talk about the eeriness of it. But the idea of a young woman running down the middle of a main street, a well-lit main street, screaming for help, and no one is coming to help is really effective. I wish that we would have
because of they justified it with that curfew.
Right.
Like
Exactly.
everything. Right.
Yes.
Oh, totally. But I still like that idea of like, this is the small town, the dichotomy of small town normalcy. Everything's great every time you're outside of a building. All of the leaves in the world are floating by, and yet she's being stalked by someone that's just walking with a knife. I really like that. And I also like Grace McKenna.
McKenna Grace.
Before the Pit and the Pendulum, and I do concede that point, that I like the reverse of the Pit and the Pendulum, but we're in a post-weapons world. I know that this was probably made before that, where people now just look at something and go, what the F? Like the first time she sees Ghostface, she just screams, what the F word? Because twice in Weapons, people just wake up from like nightmares, and instead of going, oh, it was all just a dream, they're like, what's happening? This is a horror movie. And I dug that. I like that.
I agree with all of your points. With the exception of having it burned in the trailer, I think this was a good opening sequence.
Mm-hmm.
I really enjoyed it, and I enjoyed it because it's sort of triple meta.
Mhm.
It's triple meta because the actual house is an Airbnb experience that we can get, and
In real life? In real life?
In real life.
Which
It's
one? The Stumacher house? Or
I think so. Yeah, the Stumacher house.
oh,
It may not be anymore, but it was during 5 and 6. That was all the rage on BuzzFeed, I think.
but it burned.
When did it burn? Oh, right,
Oh,
here.
same.
Right.
Yeah.
No. Yeah. But I really enjoy that level of commentary. I thought, if this is what we're in for the rest of this movie, then I am completely along for the ride. And I thought it was a great way to open the nostalgia play, a great way to get us back into the world. It just felt so familiar. Maybe not warm, but familiar. And
And a well-known
I enjoyed
actor
that.
getting killed
Yes.
in the opening, which I love.
Gotta
I love
do
Jimmy
it.
Tatro. Yeah.
Yeah. And Michelle Randolph. Where do we know Michelle Randolph from? We don't know her.
She was
we just
very
know
pretty.
Jimmy Tatro. Very pretty. Yeah. And a great kill, too. Having her fall from the lamp
Yeah.
right as he rolls
Yes.
over was outstanding. So all of that was very good. We're getting toward wrapping up, and I have a big question for you. 34% critics on Rotten Tomatoes. Franchise record opening weekend.
I think we're looking for a return to familiarity and normalcy right now. We want something that's right across the bow, and the return of Neve Campbell gives us this. I think things are so that we want the safe roller coaster of a horror movie, but sometimes you want a cheeseburger horror movie and not one that's really going to upset you and you're going to take home with you, because we have too much of that going on right now. That's my psychological 2 cents.
I like that 2 cents because it counters the practical 2 cents, which is which answers the next question. One of the things we did in Scream 6, we spent some real time on how much gas the franchise has left. Once we get into these, bottom half of the tens numbers, we got to ask that question. Kevin Williamson comes back specifically to try to prove that there is still something here. And I think to your point, Tom, did he do that? Well, audiences are going to the theater to find out. Critics are saying probably not.
Right.
And yet the money's going to give us another Scream. No doubt. No doubt. The original Scream, I think we addressed this a bit earlier. The original Scream worked so well because it was the early days of a horror movie being a platform for meta commentary. Now we're 7 films in, and the franchise is still trying to wink as if we didn't see it the first time. At what point do we exhaust meta commentary and have to return to basics? Are you tired of it yet?
I don't think this movie really did it very much. It pretended to. It cosplayed. But then you even have like younger kids being like, let's Agatha Christie this thing. What? Like, who's writing this movie? That's not even a good reference anymore. So
Yeah.
I think it was just very like, get everyone in the same room. That was the thing. And then just constantly say, it's always someone you know, it's always someone you know, which turned out not to be true. But that's not a fun reveal for me. That's the opposite of a fun reveal.
Well, they knew Jessica. She was their next door neighbor.
She was their next door neighbor.
No, but no. Like, we didn't know Jessica. We met Jessica in 1.5 scenes.
And there was no signal that
everyone
that
else
to
was
us,
like a part of the group.
Well, yeah.
Like,
I know.
even New York, the tagline for New York was "The Killer's in the poster."
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Like, that was the tagline for the movie when it had the big group shot. And this one is Carl's one of them. That's
Before we wrap up, I need to ask about the glitter on the Ghostface killer costume.
that was interesting.
He has never
Okay.
been glittery before, but all the killers in this movie were sparkly.
No, there was always a little bit of a shimmer in that
Oh,
black
really?
fabric.
Oh, this was particularly glittery.
Maybe it's more. So, I mean, I was surprised in the theater. There were 2 like high school kids that came in dressed up as Ghostface Killer. I mean, they didn't have the masks on. They wouldn't let them wear the mask, but they were all decked out and all of that. But yeah, I seem to recall it in a couple other ones because I was always like, that's an interesting costuming choice. But I don't know which one when it showed up, but I recall that from prior ones.
What I
assume
like
you
about
are
it is
right and I am wrong.
No,
What I like about it is that it feels exactly like something I would absolutely see at Spirit Halloween. Right?
Oh, yeah.
Like the cheap, glittery, black ripped fabric. It was it's perfect.
But they don't have the branding, so it's
Yeah.
black cloak,
Right.
white man face.
Yes.
Whatever it is. Yeah.
I mean, as far as gas in the franchise, Pete, I'm always wondering, like, which one's the nail in the coffin? Which story has sort of like wrapped it up? Like, this feels like one where it's like we had enough of a throwback and nostalgia to all the prior ones with the AI stuff, and it's like it's not a celebratory way to end of like, wow, that was so satisfying. But I could see that it's like we've told everything. We've tapped this well as much as we can. We brought back all these former faces from the prior Scream franchises. Is this the end of Sidney Prescott's story? Is it going to follow Tatum? Where is it going to go? I think it'll keep going, but I think it's going to have, as it did with 5, I think it's going to have to be a really strong reinvention of itself. I don't know.
Tatum goes to college.
We did that with Sidney going to college, though, right? Wasn't that? I mean, who knows? I think that I think the franchise will always do it, but as they did with 5, they have to reinvent it, and they have to embrace, what horror is and what it's not anymore. And this is something that you're probably going to say like shots fired, all of this stuff, but I'm not a horror person. Like I said, I appreciate this film because it has something to say. I thought there's something meaningful about that. Tommy brought up weapons. I didn't care for that. It's creepy, it's scary, but there's nothing there to it. It's like high concept. Here's this one idea, but we don't have anything to say other than we're going to give you some scares. We're going to give you some creepy crawlies, but at the end of it, we're not saying anything. And what I appreciate about the horror movies like Scream and, even out of the 80s and, and 90s, there was always, to me, some underlying theme or something driving that other than just we're here to make you feel unease. And I
like
think
some sort of emotional wet heft.
Right. It's the analogy I use is there's the difference between art and decor. You can hang something up on your wall, and if it engages you and gives you something to think about, it's art. If it's just like something you get from Hobby Lobby and it looks nice, it's decor. It doesn't challenge you or ask anything of you. It's just like, oh, that's nice. I have an emotional response. And there's places for that. But if and I think that's where horror is
hide all my,
which is fine. It's great to have that, and they have their place. No, I enjoyed the experience. I enjoyed the experience of watching Weapons. That was great, but I have no need to see it again. Whereas a story that gets me thinking about what is it saying about these characters, what type of theme or comment is there, that's engaging to me. I don't know how Scream tackles that because we've already done the meta thing. So I think that's how it reinvents itself is what do we have to say about this new sort of phase of horror that is what it is. And again, I'm not a big fan of it, but it is in existence. And I think that needs to be confronted of what does that look like within the Scream universe and how they balance that. That I would be all on board for, to say we can't keep revisiting the 90s horror meta things. We have to engage with elevated horror and what that really means for us.
What if they went supernatural? What if they ditched just the straight across the board slasher movie? I don't know if that's possible, but it would be a real right turn.
Oh yeah, it could be very interesting. It's just finding the right story to crack into it. But I think the fans will show up for it no matter what, because there's such passion for this franchise and these characters. It's just finding the right story to tell.
One of the trailers in my theater was a perfectly placed, scheduled, slated nostalgia play. Scary Movie is back.
Yes.
Did you guys all get the trailer?
Yes.
And the trailer made me laugh, like out loud. It just got me. I'm excited.
Weirdly, it got me too. And I haven't always been a Scary Movie fan, but for some reason, that trailer demonstrated a movie that seems to really remember what it's all about, like what it's for, in a way that my experience with this one, and I'll side with Steve. I actually had, in spite of all of my generally negative opinions, I had a pretty good time at this movie. This is not a 1-star movie. It was just a letdown from my expectations, which were higher based on the last two. That's where the disappointment is. Now, the ending is clearly setting up Tatum as the next protagonist. Tom, in our past movies, you were on the record as saying that Sam Carpenter was not compelling enough to carry the franchise. The Barrera...
I was saying because she was overshadowed by Jenna Ortega.
Yes. Yeah. And here we have Tatum, Isabel May. Do we think that the next franchise movie could actually hinge on a protagonist in the form of Isabel May, Tatum?
I liked her by the end. I don't like it when when shorthand for teenage daughter mother things are leaving scenes before they're over constantly, stalking out of rooms, like not actually having a conversation. It makes me just not like the daughter, which is probably not fair. But so I kind of found her a little bit insufferable, but then by the end I was really rooting for her and rooting for them together.
Well, Sidney was doing the same thing too. It's like, oh, Mom, tell me about the jacket. I'm not going to tell you about the jacket. Stomp away. Yeah.
Well,
that was infuriating.
True. But she also did say, there's all these books written and the movies and TV shows. Why don't you read those? And the movie was like, shh. Because it seems like there was a fountain of information at Tatum's fingertips.
Yeah, but I don't know. That's the part that the mother-daughter relationship where I felt that visceral frustration. It's different looking up your mom on Wikipedia than it is sitting down with your mom and saying, okay, I need to know some heart truth about your history. And this movie teased that and never really gave it to us. At the very end, we get a little bit about that when she explains why she named her Tatum, which was a lovely story.
I like that.
I think I could have used more of that because the movie was not about the building pressure of when will Sidney finally tell the truth to her daughter. The movie was about so much more. Like let's make them closer earlier. Give us a little bit more momentum. I think on my part, I think I would look forward to a Tatum Scream.
And can it please be a musical?
That's interesting. And
all I want.
For the record, your mom is on Wikipedia, so you might want
I should ask her. I love once again. You show us the phone to
Yes.
bring the receipts. Tom always brings the receipts. All right. Where does this one sit in the franchise for you? High, low? Would you put it in the top half, bottom half?
Although I was entertained by 5, I didn't find 5 to be as revelatory as maybe you guys did. It seems like you all really liked it. So for me, this is on par with that. It's entertaining. It's bloody. It was fun. But it's nowhere near how inventive and clever the first ones were.
I feel like I've beat up the movie enough.
It's last. It's last on the list for you. Okay.
Unfortunately, it's last for me. But I don't enjoy it being last. I'm not like laughing at it. But it's well, I am laughing at it, but I'm not laughing at it sadistically. I'm not rolling over at the last second as it falls off the chandelier onto my 1.5 stars. Spoiler.
Ouch.
Tommy's gladly taking stars from this movie to hand them to other movies. I see. Okay.
Steve, it sounds like this one also maybe in the top half of Scream movies.
Yeah, I'd say it's in the top half. I was going back to like sort of where things were, and I know I did not care for 4 at all. And 5, I did enjoy sort of a refresh in the direction. So, but yeah, I'd say it's in the top half.
Okay.
It's definitely better than Y2K. Oh, Tommy. And he storms out of a podcast early.
I'm updating Mandy's Wikipedia.
Yes, please. It needs a refresh.
It's time, everybody. We need to rate and rate this movie over on Letterboxd, letterboxd.com/thenextreel. That's where you can find all of the ratings and reviews for all the films of the Next Reel family of film shows. 0 to 5, half stars for some. If you like to bandy about in weak opinions, you can do a half star.
He does this every time. Don't worry.
And here we go. Steve, what are you going to do?
I'm going to give it 3.5 stars and a like.
3.5.
A half. Yeah, 3.5. It's up there with I'd say, yeah, because I think the first one I put it like 4 stars too. I think I've got it 3.5, and I think 5 I have it 3.5. I'd say it sits comfortably in there in that top half.
Okay, excellent. Tommy, 1.5.
Unfortunately, 1.5 stars, and no like. There's no sequence that I'm looking forward to going back and rewatching. There was just not enough grabbers for me.
Got it. Mandy.
3 and a like.
That is a strong opinion.
I just want it to be positive, but I'm not claiming it's a great movie or anything.
Sure.
Yeah. So, yeah.
It is that 3 and a like celebrates that sort of middle of the road. I'm not going to regret it if somebody puts this movie on, but I am going to enjoy complaining about it if I'm watching it with somebody who's never seen it before. Like there's a real vibe in there that I want to be a part of. So I am right with Mandy. I will give it a 3. And maybe that's, I can already hear people in our community telling me I'm being too generous. Well, that's it. That's where it stands.
With a like or no like?
Yeah, with a like. I'll like it.
Okay.
I'll like it. And again, I'll like complaining about it.
Okay.
But I was actually glad to see Kevin Williamson back directing it, back writing. It's nice to see Kevin Williamson doing things that Kevin Williamson clearly enjoys doing. And so I had fun. I would watch more. What are we going to do next month? Who gets to announce it? I think it's going to be Tom. Go.
Oh, hey, you remember that guy that was on the moon or something, and then he had to plant a bunch of potatoes? It's kind of like that. We're going to be seeing Ryan Gosling in Project Angel Fire. That can't be right. What is it?
Project Hail Mary.
Project Hail Mary by the writer of the aforementioned The Martian. So we'll be seeing that next month, and that'll be I'm sure the biggest release, at least of that weekend. And so it's looking like it'll be a real tear-jerker, feel-good movie. And Mandy's already bought her tickets.
Tom, I just want to remind you.
I think I have a little sore throat coming on.
It's already brewing.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
Tom, I just want to remind you, never dress for a job you don't want, right? If you don't want to announce the movie, don't dress like a podcaster.
Okay.
Thank you so much, everybody, for hanging out with us as we watch this movie. Let us know your thoughts. If this conversation ever sent you down a rabbit hole or reminded you of other films circling the same ideas, we do a lot of that work across the family of shows at The Next Reel. We dig into the films and filmmakers that built the language this movie is speaking. You can find everything we do as part of the Next Reel family of film podcasts at thenextreel.com. And if this is your first time being here because of this movie, stick around. We only do this one once a month, and we're picky on purpose. On behalf of Steve Sarmento, Tommy Metz III, Mandy Kaplan, I'm Pete Wright. Meeting adjourned.
Hello, this is Chris Haskell from They Live by Film. For those that don't know us, Adam, Zach, and we built a podcast over the last 2 years that's a combination of film discussion from 3 very different perspectives, as well as industry interviews with the leaders in boutique Blu-ray and 4K community. We started with Dev Crocodile, but over time we've been lucky enough to speak with Arrow Video, Severin, Mondo Macabro, Vinegar Syndrome, Radiance, Indicator, most of the OCN partner labels. It's been a blast. You can find us wherever you podcast, and also actually recently as part of Someone's Favorite Production Podcast Network. We hope to see you online.